What is up, everybody? Welcome to an early edition of the NBA Rundown. JSU hit me up, said he wanted to talk some DFS, and the game started at 10:30. Decided to go early so we'd have time to talk about these games before the lineups lock, before the bets get taken off these boards. So, JSU, thanks for hanging out today. Exciting day of NBA basketball.
Yeah, pumped up. I was getting crushed in the old NBA Discord because we didn't have a show scheduled, and my guy Spread just comes through. He's like, "Yep, I'm here. I'm ready to go." He was ready too. Like, oh, good, and we got Tyler. He's ready to go too. Perfect. So.
I don't know about ready to go, but
you look ready, bro.
Yeah.
Your eyes are up. Your eyes are open. That's all you need. We're good to go, right? You're not sleeping, so that's good. But yeah, people were excited. They wanted to get my thoughts on this slate, and we got plenty of time, right, Spread? We're gonna run through this whole card. We're gonna talk some betting, and I'm gonna talk some DFS for sure. A ton of DFS, so it's gonna be a good day.
Yeah, all right, and hopefully Tyler can continue his prop streak because I cashed with the Harden yesterday that he gave out on the show, and that was a lot of fun. But let's jump right into the games today. So the Bucks and the Heat, right? That was one that we thought Miami was going to do better. Now Milwaukee's up 3-0. The line switched from, what was it, about a pick or -1. It's out to 4.5. Not really sure if that's an overreaction, though. A lot of people running numbers had this about -3, -4 in Miami going into this game just based off regular season performance. Obviously, we threw that out, assuming that Miami was going to raise this level of play like we saw last year. That definitely has not happened. And I'd say, JSU, my biggest surprise from this series has been the play of Bam Adebayo. I touted him before game 2 saying, hey, I'm not a DFS guy, but I think he's going to have a huge DFS game. I made a lineup. I threw him in there at 8K. Yeah, that lineup didn't do very well. What do you expect from this game tonight on the Bucks? And is Bam or Jimmy ever going to be worth the amount of money that they're charging for us?
Well, first of all, I want to talk about that last game where the line opened up. It was like, what, it was 1.5 or 2 spread right around there, right? And I said it on the show. We quickly touched on it when I was on Wednesday about that Thursday opening line and that game that was on Thursday. I was like, that's wrong. Like, I don't care what anyone says. Like, that is wrong. There's no value in the Heat right now. And if you watch the Heat play, that's just like, I don't even get the line. Like, just because they were going back to Miami, they've looked horrible. And then they just go out and get spanked again. Like, the Bucks are just right now. I'll say it. I was wrong about the Heat, clearly. I don't know if Jimmy's hurt. I don't know what's wrong with Bam. Like, Bam just looks awful. I was touting him too a little bit, as one of the keys to the series, and he hasn't been it. He can't hit bunny shots right now. Like, he's struggling, and they're just kind of leaving him, right, Spread? Like, they're letting him take those little mid-range shots, and he's not there. So, the Heat, they're done. They're going to get swept. That's the one series I'll take for sure an L on from a betting side, because I did thought there was a lot of value in that when the series pricing opened up, and the Heat were big dogs. But for DFS here, this game, I think you have to make a choice. You're either all in or you're all out, right? It's like you're either thinking Miami can keep this game close or you don't, in which case I would just play either some Bucks and stay away from the Miami side completely, or I'd play nobody. And we've got 4 games on the DFS slate, so you don't technically need to play anyone from this game. So from a DFS side, it's like you just have to make that choice. For me, I'm kind of leaning towards, if I make one lineup, going the way where I either only have Bucks or I have no one. Because I feel like the Heat are they're overmatched. Like, let's be honest. Like, they're overmatched. This series is done. It should be over today. I think the Bucks just roll again, personally. I don't think the Heat even salvage one game. That's how bad they've looked. I don't know how you guys feel, but for me, from a betting side, I'm taking the Bucks at, 4.5 right now, taking them. And I'm just going to collect again because, they were an easy bet. Yes, I said it to people. I said it. Titletown was trying to get more JSU bucks.
Yeah.
And he slid into my DMs, friggin' Titletown. So, God, that kid, I'm going to get him. So he got me with the Bryn Forbes game in game 2. And, so JSU owes him some cheese. And he tried to get in my DMs. He said, "Oh, you want to take the Heat for game 3?" And I'm like, "Hell no, dude. I'm betting the Bucks. I'm getting my money back that I'm paying you later because the Bucks are going to kill them." And he was like, "Oh, really?" Like he was shocked that I was actually like going the Bucks way, but I'm like, at 2 or 1.5, like what are we even talking about here? Like the Bucks are just clearly better.
Yeah, I think this line is correct from a modeling perspective, but we also have to take into account the situation. One thing I would say from a DFS, assuming they are going for the sweep, they should have significant amount of time off, which means I think that Budenholzer I think he'll keep Giannis in there and the starters towards the end, even 20 plus. I think it would have to be less than 4 minutes. So when we're talking about blowout potential here, I don't know if it's as worrisome. I feel like up 18, we might still see the starters till about 4 minutes to go. Maybe not as much as an earlier game. But Tyler, here's where we can help out with the DFS guys. What do you expect over here? Do you expect a blowout here in this game, Tyler? Tyler, did your computer freeze? I think Tyler's computer freeze. We'll come back to him when his internet gets better. So if you were to play a Milwaukee Buck, JSU, who are you looking at here? Is it worth the spend up on Giannis, or is there better looks on this board?
I mean, yeah, he's worth the spend. He's under 11K. He's definitely worth the spend. I do prefer Jokic on this slate. Mm-hmm. Like if you said to me, JSU, you can only play one stud, pick one. I'm going to take Jokic on this slate. I just like that game better. I can't wait to talk about that game. That's going to be a fun series to finish out because I do think it goes 7. But yeah, like Giannis is definitely in play. Again, it comes back to, though, I don't think I'm playing Giannis unless I'm playing Heat, if that makes sense, because I want Giannis to be in a competitive game. And if that's the case, and I think it's competitive, then I actually think the Heat have a chance to win, or some close enough where they're playing well offensively, in which case I would want to roster some Heat guys. So when you're making DFS lineups, I think this is something that you need to think about. Yeah, could Giannis play 30 minutes and give you 60 fantasy points like he did in game 1 or 2? I can't remember which one it was, but he was great in like 30 or 32 minutes. Yeah, he could, but I wouldn't take that chance. I would either play Giannis, in which I'm playing the Heat guys, or I wouldn't play Giannis and I'd play some of the cheaper guys. And I put Drew Holiday as a cheaper guy, just because I like his price, but that's a decision you got to make when building.
All right, hey, Tyler, so let's help out the DFS guys. What do you think? Is this a blowout game here? Does Milwaukee just run away with it, or do the Heat keep it close, in which case you think it's a blowout?
Yeah, I think Milwaukee just ends it here. I think they had this series circled from the beginning of the year, and I think they finished them off right here.
Yeah, I mean, do you think last year's result gives them a little extra motivation to get it done today and not do the gentleman's sweep?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Did you look at any props today, and if so, who would you be targeting on either side?
I did not. I didn't get the time to. I'm looking now.
Yeah, why don't you look now, and we'll jump into some of these other games, and of course, we'll have plenty of time to double back before the best bets.
But Spread, before we go on to the next game too, I just want to make sure people, hey guys, I mean, hit the like button. Spread friggin', he got up earlier than he was supposed to do this show because the people wanted some more advice and they wanted me on the show. Show Spread and Tyler some love. Hit the like button. They do this show for free. Spread's on here almost every day doing this show, and they give out winners. So hit that like button for Spread. I mean, appreciate them. Show them some love here.
All right. Thank you, JSU. Definitely would appreciate all the likes. And, of course, subscribe to the channel. and we got content for all the sports coming up. In fact, as soon as we're going off here today, Jay's going to be going on the channel as soon as we're done doing NASCAR, and of course I will be on with him tomorrow night. I'll be doing the NBA, and he's going to be doing the NASCAR for Memorial Day weekend, so we're looking forward to that as well. For the NBA, okay, so we'll probably double back to this game because we have a little more time, but let's go into the one that you really wanted to talk about, and I think that the spend up here is correlated, and I would agree with you. Number one, the Blazers have decided to let Jokic beat them, and they don't want to pass another double team. We've talked before on the rundown about it, but since we have a bunch of viewers, if you haven't seen it before, analytics say, hey, single Jokic. When he passes out of a double team, the Nuggets average 1.3 points per possession. When he simply just shoots in the post, he's 1.1. So that's why they're not doubling. Makes sense analytically, but for DFS purposes, means that he's more likely going to score a lot of points. Assists are down, though, so something to take into consideration there. Now, I see the Nuggets at plus 4.5 again. I'll tell you what, I'm tempted to jump in on the Denver side with the spread because I believe this is going to be a close game. What do you think, JSU?
Yeah, so if you watch the shows and everything like that, the last time these guys played, which wasn't last night, it was the night before, I'm pretty sure, I was in the free YouTube chat typing in Nuggets money line, Nuggets money line. I said it on this show the day before when we talked about it. I said Nuggets have the value here, money line plus 150 or whatever it was. Tony was on it. Hoop was on it. Everyone was on the Nuggets. Even Mangone was on it, apparently. So, and Mangone likes Portland. And Mangone likes Portland for the series, and he was on it. So, I mean, I feel like I just have a really good feel for how this series is going. It feels like it's that back and forth series that we're going to love. Like, it's going to be a great series finishing out. It's going to go 6 or 7, I think, for sure. The question is who wins, and I think it really is close to a coin flip. It could go either way. From a DFS side, just to kind of add to what you said about Jokic, we talked about this, right, Spread? Like when we talked about this game, we said, I mean, look at these numbers. They're clearly saying, okay, we'll let you score because we know that you are a all-around player. You want to do a little of everything. You don't want – like, we're forcing you to play different, right, Spread? And you can even see it in the numbers, right? You can just clearly see it. I mean, look at the shot attempts, 27, 20, 24. The assists are down. The rebounds are fine. But the scoring, 34, 38, 36, like, they're clearly giving him those looks, and he has to take them. But they're saying, okay, we'll just stop everyone else and force you to be the main guy. And if you can drop 35 to 40 on us, and you beat us, fine, we'll take the L. That's going to be their strategy. I think it's the best way to play Jokic. It shows it in the numbers anyways, even though people will say, like, why would you let him, why wouldn't you just throw a double team? Think about it. It's giving other guys that aren't as good open looks. So they don't want to do that. They want those guys to be challenged because they're really not good offensive players. Aaron Gordon. I know Austin Rivers had a really good game, and he was key to winning that game. But Austin Rivers isn't like an amazing offensive player. Campazzo's streaky up and down. Think about all the guys they have. This makes a lot of sense what they're doing. And if a guy like Austin Rivers pops up, Denver's going to win like another game. Like if Austin Rivers does what he did last game, I mean, right, Spread? Like if they get that production from a guy like Austin Rivers, wouldn't you be so confident just to bet Denver and move on?
Yeah, I mean, but can we expect that, right? I mean, there's a reason they picked him up off the waiver wire, and everyone can't come through and have great games. We'll see if we expect again. But I think this game's fascinating from a DFS perspective for this reason. Go to the other side for our spend up, right? Damien Lillard. How do you leave him off the lineup? But then we turn around. We can't stars and scrubs it like I did rolling with you guys during the regular season, where you gave me 3 or 4 guys that were under 4K that I could roster, get 20 points out of, and then I could put 3 guys that were worth 10K at the top. I can't do that anymore. But at the same time, I've been leaving Lillard off my little lineups, and I've been regretting it. How do you approach this situation where we have 2 fantastic spend-up options here?
Yeah, so I've been another one who's been kind of leaving Lillard off my lineups. I still feel like Denver is really doing as good of a job as they possibly can in their adjustments from game 1 to game 3 on Lillard. Now, when you look at the numbers, though, the guy's shooting like 25 to 30 times in a game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's going to take those. And look at these 3-point attempts, 12, 16, 16. He is jacking up 3-point attempts. And we all know he can hit them from anywhere. So it's tough in DFS when you look at these numbers, you look at it and you go, how the heck do I not play Damian Lillard? I will say, too, one thing that was interesting in the last game is he didn't get to the free throw line as much as in game 1 and game 2. He only had 2 free throw attempts in game 1.
And that's surprising in the Rose Garden, right?
Yeah. It's one of those things, though, where in a way, and I know this might sound crazy, but I'd rather him stay on the perimeter and shoot those shots and not be trying to be like aggressive and get to the foul line. Because when you're a shooter and you're getting to the foul line, in my opinion, it just helps with everything. It helps with your rhythm. When you can hit those easy jumpers, you just see it a lot better. That's one thing where I think they need to continue to do is keep him off the foul line. If he's going to beat you by shooting those logo 3-point shots, you got to take your L if he's hitting those, right? Like there's not much you can do. One other thing I think they need to do more, Spread, they did it in the beginning a little bit. Whenever Aaron Gordon gets him on offense, he needs to post him up. He drew 1 foul against them in the first quarter, like the beginning of the first quarter, and then never did it. Or I don't think he did it again. Or maybe I just didn't see it. But they need to do that more. If a bigger guy gets switched onto Damian Lillard, they need to make him play defense, get him down in the post, and force him into situations where he doesn't want to be in. That's one other key when you're playing a great offensive player is you got to make them play defense on the other end. You got to force them to work. I think that's one good thing about Nurkic. I think
that's what I was going to say. They need to do that more. I think they need to use him more, even if it's not analytically correct. Put some pressure on Jokic. And you're right about those free throws. And I think that trend's going to continue because they're going to drop on that pick and roll every time. Yeah. Right? Until they decide to go over on it, that's going to give them the path to the hoop. Right? But I don't think they want him to have that path to the hoop because they know that Jokic is not that good. Right?
And they don't want him to get easy buckets.
Right.
I know people are like, this is crazy because Damian Lillard is just amazing from, the perimeter. And he is. But think about it. When he's feeling himself, if you just let him get layups and fouls and go to the free throw line, it just makes everything so much easier for a scorer. When you make him literally score from the perimeter and the perimeter only, for the most part, it's harder. It's harder for them to do, especially long term, like for a whole series. So I think you see this continue, but for DFS, you have to say he's in play because with these numbers and the shots that he's taking, how can I look at 14, 12, 16 3-point attempts and be like, oh, yeah, this guy, he's going to do it again, Spread. He's going to continue to do it. So I'll just say Jokic is the best spend. I think Dame might be the second best spend.
Let's say I want to jam this game. I want both those guys in there. Where's the value in this game? Who am I going to on those lower rungs so I can make this lineup work? Because I've had a lot between 6 to 8Ks in my lineup here because it just seems like once you get below 5K, that value is fleeting.
Yeah. So one thing I will say about Portland is, they condensed this. They got Carmelo Anthony, who I thought was a good play last time out off of game 2 where he had a really bad game. He just didn't shoot well from the field in general. And it's unlike him to take only 5 shots, right, Spread? And I knew those shot numbers were going to go up, and it did. He went to 12, and I thought he was a really good play. He got 26 minutes. That's what happens. When Carmelo is on and he's scoring, he's going to get minutes. He's going to take more shots. So at 4,100, I think he's a really good source of value. Then you've got some mid-tier value like Nurkic, who I still think is underpriced. I don't get why he's under 7K. He's more like a $7,500 center, and I think he's at 68. So there's a little value in him. We're still waiting for a big CJ game. He had a decent game last time out, but for DFS, he had 40. It was fine, but it wasn't. like I still think we're going to get one CJ game this series where, he does it all the time where he'll randomly go off for like 20 points in a quarter. And you're like, where did that come from? and Dame's just standing there because he knows CJ's got to go.
Yeah, and once he knows, it's just like Steph used to do with Clay, right? Like, okay, you got it today. I'll take a step back. So, all right, Tyler, we went pretty far in this game. I saw you running those numbers there. Let me know what you think here. The Nuggets catching 4.5, total 227.5. Hey, I admit it. I was lucky to get the over the other night when I bet that game. I'm not sure what to do with the total here. Maybe come back on the under, as lucky as that win felt. But what are your thoughts for this game, the total, the side, and maybe just the overall winner?
I think we just don't overthink this game. We just arbit again like we did the other night. One of these teams is going to go up 10. The other one's going to come right back. You'll get the plus 150 on both sides. Okay, just do that and then just get out of that game, because with these two teams, I mean, would it surprise you if either won at the end of the game? Not really.
No, that's why when I'm looking at the spread,
one's got a lot better guards. One's got a lot better front court. So it's like, pick your poison. Right. So I just arb this game and get out of it.
All right, and did you look at the props? Was there any players that maybe we were looking over? Of course, we talked about Dame, CJ, Jokic. I mean, should we be looking at some of these smaller players here, maybe like a Cantor rebounds, Melo three-pointers? I mean, is there something that we've missed that we're leaving on the table?
No, not in this game.
Okay.
I mean, you could target props in this game, but I just don't see any worth it. The Lillard number's too high.
There's nothing like mispriced.
Okay. Yeah, everything's the numbers are just inflated.
All right. We'll jump into the next game of the evening. That's the 76ers of the Wizards. I think this is fascinating here from a betting perspective, simply because the narrative that we all love, that we've played for years as NBA bettors, right, is you watch a team look terrible for 2 games, but they're going back home. The public's going to fade them. It's happened so far. This line opened at 5. It's 6 now. It's hard to bet Washington after what you've seen the last 2 games, unless you've been watching the NBA for the last 20 years and the teams down at home, down 2-0, usually come back and show some fight, and the game looks significantly different. How are you approaching this game? The main reason I don't want to do the 2-0 like insta play here is just the home court's not going to give them a matchup for Embiid, and that's my concern here for Washington, that even if all the role players raise their game, even if they're hype and they play the best game possible, I don't know how they stop Joel Embiid in the middle, and it just seems to be the major flaw in this matchup. What do you think, JSU?
Yeah, and I mean, Russ is also a little banged up too. Missed practice on Friday, received treatment. I mean, he's got an ankle issue. We assume he's going to play, right? Like he's going to try and play through it. Yeah, right. But how healthy is he going to be? That's just another reason why, like, they were already a big dog, or in my opinion, with him fully healthy. And if he's if he's not 100% healthy, that's even worse. And they have nobody to match with Embiid. Tobias Harris looks like a mismatch. I've said it from the beginning of this series. This is the best matchup Ben Simmons can have stylistically against this team. Like, it is literally the best. This is perfect. Okay, Washington is ideal matchup. Ben Simmons will probably have success again statistically in this game. I wouldn't be shocked if at the end of the day, he's got a double-double or close to a triple-double. Like, that's what he can do, and Washington is the perfect style matchup for him. My question is just, I think this game is a blowout. Like, I just think this game is going to be over quickly. And from a DFS side, do I want
7,600 on DK?
Yeah, like,
seems
so
like
here's my
some
thing.
value.
Yeah, so him and Tobias, their price tags are still down. Like, they're still worth a play. My question is, how many guys can I really take from this game in my lineup? Because if you told me that Philly in Washington was going to stay close and Joel Embiid was going to play 35, 38 minutes, I'd be like, okay, 9,800 Joel Embiid, now we're talking. I don't think he's going to play that because I don't think this game stays close. But Ben Simmons and Tobias Harris at their price tags, if they get 30 minutes in a blowout or close to 30 minutes in a blowout, can they outperform their price tags at 73 or 74 and 76? Yes. So I think those are the two guys in play for me. I'm fading the Washington side completely, and I'm probably going to fade the rest of Philly. Like, I think if I play anyone, it would be Simmons or Harris. The other thing, too, about Harris is the forward position is kind of tough. It's not very good, in my opinion. So, especially if you decide not to play the forwards in the Milwaukee game, because that's Jimmy and Giannis, right? So, if you don't play them, the forward pool gets a lot worse after them. MPJ, who's not looked good in this series, especially for DFS. And then you got Tobias. And then it goes down to the Memphis guys and the Utah guys. So there's not very many, forward plays that I love on this slate. So I think that that's a decision point you have to make. So it might just put Tobias in play from that standpoint as well, from like a building standpoint, if you were to fade the Milwaukee forwards in that game. So I think this game just is a blowout, and I'm going to play it like such, where one, maybe two Philly guys at most in my lineups, and Washington is a fade.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 games in that Miami-Milwaukee series that you mentioned did go under here, so I could see how you could pivot away from those forwards and just feel fine, or just fade that game altogether and feel fine when constructing your lineups. So let's go and get Tyler's thoughts on this. Sixers -6, totals 227.5. Tyler, what do you think here? Did the Sixers run away with it, or is it like Boston last night and we see a completely rejuvenated Washington team? All right, we won't talk about that game, but we saw a rejuvenated team at home. Do you see the same script tonight here with Washington and
no.
Holden's old hometown?
Washington just doesn't have the firepower. Their explosive guard now has an ankle problem. That's never good.
Yeah.
I just don't think they match up very well here. I think Philly just runs away with it, wins this game by double digits. Ben Simmons over 14.5 intrigues me because he's going to get to the hole as much as he wants. It's just, is he going to shoot the ball? Mm-hmm. He shot the ball in game 2, but he didn't really shoot it in game 1, so that's what you're banking on with his prop. But other than that, I would just lay it with Philly. I think they just run away with this.
What about a Beal prop? Do you expect elevated usage with him? But he's not 100% either. It's almost like Westbrook got hurt, and then we forget that Beal was limping his way into the playoffs as well.
Yeah,
Can I say one thing, Tyler, about that shooting? Notice the difference between game 1 and game 2. What was the difference? Game 1 was actually close it was close.
Yeah, and then game 2 he just ran away and just took all his free shots at the end.
He was free. He was free because the game wasn't close, right? In game 1, Tobias Harris was, they were down. It was back and forth. They were down a little bit. Like, Tobias Harris kept them afloat in that first half when Embiid was dealing with foul trouble. In game 2, he played way more free, and I think it's because he knew he could, the way they were just handling them.
Yeah, I could see similar to game 2 here, to where they get up a lead and he just kind of running around doing these weird layups, trying to dunk on people.
Yeah, there's some talk in the chat about Davis Bertons. Do you guys want to talk about him real quick? JSU, maybe from a DK perspective or DFS perspective, and then Tyler, just which way you would go if you were going to look at his props. He's been
I want to look at his props
so
right now. Just real quick, let's see what his props are at.
Is this the typical Charles Barkley thing? I think this is the thing that Barkley has been most right on that show for his whole career, is that the role players in the playoffs play better at home. Right, we can throw out a bunch of stuff he says, but we can give him credit for that one. That one's usually true.
Especially shooters, right? Yeah. They're shooters. They like to be comfortable, right? They like to be at their home floor, comfortable. Like I'm for it when it's a shooter. I definitely can get on board. Yeah, so I can't. Tyler, can you find his props?
I don't see any on FanDuel or DraftKings. I'm checking BetMGM now.
They just left him out.
I don't blame him.
After posting that donut of a stat line the other night, I would leave him out too.
I do think hottest free agent.
I do think he's gonna shoot more than 4 times in this game. That's for sure. The issue with Bertons in this matchup is he's so easy for Philly to defend because they don't worry about him when he puts the ball on the floor. They have Joel Embiid at the rim. So, and Bertons knows that. So Bertons is never going to actually go all the way and challenge Embiid. Like, they know what he's trying to do. He's trying to like fake to get them to like think he's going to the hole, and then he shoots those threes. He steps back and shoots those threes, or he comes off the screen. You know what he's going to do when he's coming off those screens. He's going to shoot. You got to run at him and force him to put the ball on the ground. He's very easy to defend if you're Philly, because you don't even worry about it when he puts the ball on the floor. So that's why he's, not very effective in the series, in my opinion.
All right. Well, let's jump into the next game. I couldn't find any Bertons props offshores either. I checked Bookmaker and Bet Online real quick.
It's probably the right move.
Yeah. The final game of the evening is the Jazz, and they are -5 with a total of 224 heading to Memphis. So the Jazz lost game 1 without Donovan Mitchell, and nobody really raised their alarms or whatever because, okay. And then Donovan Mitchell comes back, and it looks exactly like we expected in a 1-8 playoff matchup. The Jazz won fairly easy. Now they go back to Memphis, and we talked about this a little bit yesterday. I hate the way they put these home lines. Let's say you do like Memphis here, but you're worried about their ability to win outright. But you say, hey, I think they keep it close. I would hate to just be within the number for 46 minutes, and then Memphis fouls you out of it in the last 2. Right? They're within the number the whole time, but then they're not going to give up. And we know they're going to foul till at least 6. And sometimes in the playoffs they do 8 and 9. So that's why I can't take the number with Memphis here. I like the Jazz. I think once Mitchell's back, you saw how much he really means to that team because they're what? A shot creator, a shot blocker, and a bunch of shooters. You take out your shot creator, that offense didn't look too good. JSU, what are you thinking?
Right, yeah, exactly. Like, you need that guy who, when you need a bucket, you could just give it to him, get out of his damn way, and he just goes and gets you a bucket. They don't have that really without him. Bogdanovich isn't that guy. Even Conley, he's a little older now. It's not that guy. It's definitely Mitchell. He is key to that team. I think Jordan Clarkson would actually be the only one that you could probably give the ball to, but he's not nearly as good as Mitchell. That's just how good Mitchell is.
The thing is, Clarkson can't beat a double team where Mitchell could.
No, yeah. Right. Not that teams are throwing a double team at Jordan Clarkson anyways, though. But, you're right.
If he really was beating you, it's a quick, easy adjustment.
Yeah,
whereas
for
Mitchell,
sure.
there's no adjustment when he gets hot. There's no adjustment. You're done.
So I agree with you. Like, if I'm looking at this from a betting side, it's tough to back Memphis. Like, I don't really know how you do it. Like, I think Utah would be the play, even though could Memphis keep this game somewhat close? Yeah, it's possible at home, maybe. I could see it, but in the end, I think it's going to be one of those games where maybe it's close for a little while. And then, like, in the fourth quarter, Mitchell's just going to stretch the lead out because once that game tightens up at the end, you know where the ball is going to be. It's going to be in Mitchell's hands, and he's going to end up closing it out. I thought at 9.5 last game, Memphis, there was some value in that going the Memphis side. Now it ended up just not covering. I think it was a 11-point game or something like that, but it was close. And in this game, I think the line is just it's making me side with Utah here. I don't want to, but it's making me side there. From a DFS side, I've said this, since this series started. If you want to beat Utah, you need guys on the perimeter that can get it done. You're not going to beat Utah trying to beat them up inside. That's a recipe for disaster. Joe Val is not going to win this series. He's not the key. The key is Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, those guards on the perimeter. They need to be able to get it done on the outside, shooting and getting into the paint and scoring without actually getting all the way to the rim because Rudy Gobert's there and he's a rim protector and he's the best in the league probably. So you need guys like Ja who can hit that floater. That dude, by the way, I don't know if you guys watched, there was one possession where he literally shook like two dudes with this in and out move. And he like shot a floater with his right hand fading left. Like when he's shooting, like when he's doing that type of stuff, I mean, it's just so fun to watch. He's ridiculous. I don't know how you don't watch that and be like, this dude is just unreal when he's feeling it. And last game he was feeling it. The other good thing was, they let him play 43 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're going to let him play 43 minutes again, okay. Like, I know he's 8'3" on DK, but
that's what I say. He's 8,300.
He is the only. He and Dillon Brooks, I think, are the two Memphis guys you can roster. Because if this game is close, it's because of one of them. They need one of them to go off. And look at the series. Game 1, Dillon Brooks goes nuts. Game 2, Ja Morant goes nuts. I think Dillon Brooks was in foul trouble too. But
either way, Gobert in big foul trouble in game 1 too, the one that they won?
He was. Yep, he was. So that's another key too. I mean, Gobert is huge because you got to try and get him get him in foul trouble.
So we all know this, right? So obviously Taylor Jenkins knows it. Valanciunas now have anything? I mean, it seems like they would try and force things through him, just like we talked with Nurkic and Jokic. Get your other big in trouble. Would you think that they might try to do the same here, especially at home, where they might get a little bit of the cooking?
The problem is I think you need to give him some touches because you can't just completely fade because Gobert is there. The problem is when Gobert is blocking shots and they're getting in transition is when they're most dangerous. When they get that ball, rip it and throw it, and Donovan Mitchell's off. That's when they're pumped up. You saw it. Jaren Jackson tried to challenge Rudy Gobert. You can't challenge Rudy Gobert on the post. He tried it once, and dude just swatted the ball back to the 3-point line. What are you even thinking? Jaren Jackson, stay on the outside. When Rudy Gobert's down there, why are you trying to challenge him? You're coming at him. You're coming at his strength. You need to go away from him. That's where his weakness is, right? Make him come out and guard you when you're the sole big down there, when he's on you. Don't actually go at his body. That's what he wants you to do. He wants you to hit him with your shoulder. You think because he stepped back an inch, oh, I got him. That's what he's trying to make you think you got him, and then he just sends your shot back. It's so silly. Jaren Jackson needs to fix that. He should not be challenging Rudy. The only one who should is Joval because he's got a big enough frame where he can get his little hook shot or his little, he can get those off on Rudy, even though it's tough. That's what they got to do. So maybe you're right, Spread. Maybe they go at him a little bit, but in the end, it's going to be Ja or Dillon Brooks that needs to be the biggest factor, in my opinion, for Memphis.
So at 7,900, that's too big of a risk, right? I mean, just the idea that they might do that. We can't base 7,900 on the idea that they might do that, right?
Yeah, no. And why would you want the matchup against Rudy? It's just terrible. You're hoping that Rudy gets in foul trouble and he has a little easier path. Yeah. But even then, it's what is he getting you? 36, 40? Yeah. That's fine. I'd rather pay for Ja. Give me the upside of 60.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. All right, Tyler, do you want to jump in and talk about this game? Memphis catching 5 at home. I told you why I'm scared to take the points. Even in a close game, they might not cover. How do you see this game playing out? Are we missing something? Is this Memphis get back here? Are they going to grind it out in Grindhouse? Nope.
I mean, first game they win, no Mitchell. They get Gobert in foul trouble. Game 2, Utah covers. If you look back, Valanciunas had 2 quick fouls, and so did Dillon Brooks.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could argue foul trouble in both games. Mm-hmm. The spot I'm looking at, though, throw out the spread, throw out the total. Mitchell scored 25 points in 25 minutes in that game. Mm-hmm. He's going to play 30 minutes in this game. Him to score 25 and Utah wins plus 150. So you're telling me you're going to give him more minutes, and he scored that amount last game? He's going for at least 27 to 30 points today. They just have to win the game at plus 150. So that'll be my play in this game.
All right, I'm going to look for that right now, too. I think I can get a performance double. Similar thing for Bet Online Offshore. And do you want to let everyone know what's the book that you're getting that at?
That's on DraftKings.
All right, I will see if I can find the same thing.
I love that, too. You got to expect they bring his minutes up just a little bit here. I mean, we don't think they let him completely go, though, right?
No, but I think he gets into the 30-minute range.
Yeah. Okay.
Because I think he would have gotten to the 27, 29 range last game, but he had that where he fell down And Quinn Snyder almost panicked, and he pulled him out of the game because he didn't want him to get hurt.
Yeah, it was like a scare. Yeah, for sure. So I'm with you. You could see like 32, 33, somewhere in that range. One other guy I will say, just because Donovan Mitchell, I don't think they're going to, even though we think they're going to give him more minutes, like they're not going to extend him 38 to 40 like they would. Honestly, like they would, if it was a close game and he was healthy, he'd be playing 40 minutes.
Yeah, he'd be out
like no doubt in my mind, he'd be playing like around 40 minutes. But so Mike Conley, if you look at his assist numbers, these last 2 games, he's been unreal, and he's still 6,800. He's still under 7K on DraftKings. If they're going to continue to just hold Donovan Mitchell back a little bit, then that brings Conley into play for me the way he's been playing. So
I do think, though, Conley too.
Yeah. Oh, that's another good point. So I think there's some value in Mike Conley's tag. I also think there's some value in Donovan Mitchell's tag. And maybe as crazy as that sounds, we're not going to get the ceiling of minutes, which sucks. But 8,200, he could be a 9K player in the playoffs. Like, that's how good he can play in the playoffs. The thing with him is going to be, is he going to be, again, just a scorer? Or is he going to start to do a little more of everything like we're used to seeing Donovan Mitchell do?
All right, well, let's just talk some general playoffs. But, guys, if you have questions for JSU in the chat while you're building your lineup, we'll take those questions. We'll deviate away from just our overall playoff discussion. But, JSU, I'd love to get your thoughts on what we saw yesterday. I talked to you right before we went on. My biggest surprise, not necessarily the Clippers won, but the Clippers won while the Mavericks shot more than 50% from 3. We had a great time, just burying the Clippers, putting the season over. Luka's the best player in the NBA. They kind of jumped back here. How do you see this series moving on from here? And what did you think of the adjustments from Ty Lue? Because I'll tell you what, I was pretty much throwing more dirt on Ty Lue than I was on this Clippers franchise. I didn't like the Reggie Jackson move. As you should. I was wrong. I was wrong on the Reggie Jackson move. It seemed to be the right move. I didn't like all those Zubac minutes still, but they got through. And obviously the injury to Ibaka is hurting this team, especially in this playoff form, a lot more than we expected. What did you think of that game last night, and where do you see it going from here? Chance that we go back to LA with the tied series?
Possibly. One thing that was interesting, and you kind of brought it up when we were talking before the show, is Dallas still shot pretty well from the field and from the perimeter, like the outside, which was interesting. You would have thought in a game where the Clippers had more success, maybe Dallas's shooting numbers went down a little bit, especially from the outside. They didn't that much. Like, they still shot pretty well. It's just the Clippers had some adjustments that were interesting. I thought Rondo was key. Like, the Rondo minutes in game 1, he got more minutes. Then in game, I think it was 2, they brought him back down. I didn't understand it. They finally just took Pat Beverly out, which was what I've been waiting for them to do. He's not really a factor in this series. He can't bother Luka. He can't get in Luka's head. It's clear. And that's his strategy with everyone. He tries to get in their head, and he tries to, make them, force it a little too much at times. Can't do it. I don't know if he's got to be still hurt in a little bit, maybe, but maybe he's just not as good anymore either.
Yeah, no,
he wasn't that good to begin with, to be honest.
For an older reference to me right now, Pat Bev is Flavor Flav. He can get everyone hyped, but that's about it. We don't want him pulling out the full 16 bars. So, cool, interesting breakdown. Let's jump straight to these questions here. First one from Aldrin: is Rivers going to be chalky tonight? Is he worth rostering in tournaments?
So I think Rivers, he could be chalky. He definitely could. People are going to see that last performance. I don't know. I mean, Monte Morris is right in his price range too. So do people, split between those two guys, or do they see that Austin Rivers was just the better player last time out, and not look at the fact that the minutes are fluctuating depending on who is playing well? Let's just be honest. With this guard situation, it's completely fluid. Like I wouldn't shock me.
When you have 4 backups, there's no egos to manage either, right?
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me if today Monte Morris saw more minutes.
Yeah,
like, it wouldn't shock me if he got 30 today. You know what I mean? So I think that both those guys are solid plays, but just remember I would say there is some risk to some of these guys just because of that factor. They have guards. They can rotate them at times. But it's clear to me, I will say this, it is clear that Malone likes Austin Rivers. I think anyways. He wants him in there.
Travis likes to joke about that circle of trust. He's in the circle of trust.
No, for sure.
Tyler, we got a bets question. I'll answer, and I'll let you take a stab at it, too. Do you guys, it's from our guy Triple Bean Dreams, do you guys think it's the right time to take Brooklyn and the Lakers both at plus 200? I do. I think that's good. I think they both win the series.
I want to know where he's getting that number at and what he's parlaying, because he's
parlaying them, isn't he?
But you can't parlay the series when one's a minus 10,000 down to a plus 200.
Okay. We'll come back to that. Triple Bean, throw us where you're getting that number, because I thought it was pretty good.
One series is a minus 800. The other one's a minus 10,000. Okay. I don't think that equals out the plus 200.
Maybe he's talking to get to the finals.
I mean, it's tough with that, because you're asking them to win, 3 more series apiece?
And both teams stay healthy, which I think are the two teams that have the biggest injury concerns. You probably stay away from that. JSU, Mike Conley or Drew Holiday today? What do you think?
Mike Conley or Drew Holiday. Like, with pricing doesn't matter. If pricing doesn't matter, it's Drew Holiday.
Okay.
If pricing matters, well, now that's a little different. Now it's closer to me. But I still think I would lean Drew Holiday straight up.
All right, let's see what we got. Biggest bump from no Dante DiVincenzo. Patty C, egregious shock.
The one thing I don't mind about Patty C is he's forward eligible. And I've talked about this. Forward is not a good position on DraftKings. So I definitely think you can play him. I don't think, though, that, would I be shocked if they, Pat Connaughton only saw like 25 minutes and Bryn Forbes saw 25 and PJ Tucker saw more minutes and Bobby Portis saw a few more minutes, like, as opposed to one guy getting just this massive jump to seeing like Dante's full run 30, 32 minutes. Like, I don't think that happens. I think it's more of like a spread around type for Dante, because if you look at his minutes in game 1 and game 2, in game 1, 37 minutes, that was in overtime. So 5 of those minutes we can take away. He got 32 minutes. Then we got the blowout in game 2. And then he got injured, obviously, in game 3. So the blowout in game 2, he saw 23. So, he gets around 30-ish minutes, in my opinion, just normal game. I don't know if Pat Connaughton sees all 32 of those minutes, but I do think that he gets 25. So at 25 and 3,400 and he fills a forward spot, I can get on board for it, especially because Miami's kind of forcing guys like him to shoot and score, which is interesting.
Right. And they've been doing it so far. See if it continues.
Yep.
Our guy Chad Harpole's looking for value. He says, any Jeff Teague love today?
Jeff Teague. Oh, boy. He finally saw the floor. Maybe he gets a bump. That he's one of those guys, if you're MMEing, I think you could look at a Jeff Teague.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't play him in 1 or 2 or 3 lineups, though.
All right. Let's see. We got Z Wicklers wants to know Pat, Rivers, or Ingles on FanDuel.
Pat, Rivers, or Ingles? Rivers.
All right. Looks like we're pretty good on the questions here, guys. Keep them coming, and we'll do some quick thoughts on the series tomorrow. Will we get some more coming back up? Tyler, we'll definitely want to hear your thoughts on here. Knicks, do they get it back tomorrow night, or is Atlanta just too much for them? I saw you and Joey having a fun little chat. Of course, that was the heat in the moment. You've got a good night's sleep. You've calmed down, had a great breakfast. Are you still feeling the same way about the Knicks and their chances against the Hawks?
When you can't score spread, you can't win.
It is an issue. It's usually who scores the most points wins.
They showed all their cards in the regular season because they were pushing everything at 100 miles an hour. Now look, Now you got to play real basketball against other guys that are trying. It's showing that they weren't all that good. That record was inflated, like I said, before the playoffs started.
Yeah.
We all know those guys that are on a basketball team or a football team that try really hard in practice. Mm-hmm. They get the playing time, and then they go out there and they suck.
That was me. I tried really hard.
That's the Knicks right now.
I was pretty slow, too, so it was an issue.
Yeah, I mean, we have to also acknowledge that Julius Randle has been struggling this.
Does he turn it around?
Series.
There's one name. There's one name for that, though, JSU.
Yeah.
Clint Capella. Every time he spins and tries to do his little patented move, who's standing there waiting for him?
Yeah.
He turns right into him every time, and he has to kick it out.
Yeah, I mean, listen, in the regular season, he was the guy. He was their offense, right? He was the guy they go to, and someone else has got to step up, I guess, if he's going to continue to struggle. And Derrick Rose just can't do everything. Like, he's done. I think Derrick Rose has been great. I think
he's played very well.
Yeah, like I don't think you could ask for much more out of Derrick Rose than what he's giving you, to be honest with you. So you're going to need. I mean, where's RJ Barrett been? Like, what has he been doing? Yeah. I think
regular season player.
Well, it's interesting.
He's also young.
Minutes
right?
have been trending down.
What is he? He's the third year, second year? What's RJ Barrett?
Yeah,
second. I'm not running him down the same as Randall, who's a 7-year veteran, right? I mean, I'm going on top of my head, but he's been in the league long enough.
Maybe the pressures get to him.
I think this is his first real playoff run. Yeah,
it's a lot of pressure in New York to spread.
Yeah,
like New York, the fans, like that's a lot of pressure. It's tough to play in New York.
Just like I said before that series started, his moves are pretty, like, you could telegraph his moves. He's either going to spin, he's going to take the one dribble to the left or right and try and pull up in your face, or he's going to shoot the three. Mm-hmm. They game plan for all three of those, and now it's like he has to kick the ball out every play.
Yeah, and that corner three, and we saw that the Clippers did it as well. It's almost the easiest adjustment. When you're giving it up, like, you can take it away. So, JSU, Tyler can actually now vote in the state of Massachusetts because he hates Kyrie Irving so much. So I know his thoughts on this series, but what were your thoughts on the Celtics series yesterday, or the Celtics game yesterday?
Well, I did think that the Celtics would steal one of these games, so I'm glad they did get one. So I can be right on that. But in the end, Tatum can't drop 50 for you every game. So you know what I mean? Like, that's just one of those games. I'm going to honestly throw it out the window though, because, like, I'm sorry. It's just, you can't ask for that from a guy. It's not possible. Like, he can't do that for you. And like every game, you can't expect that. So I just throw that game out. I think the next game they get wiped out and it's over. Like that. That's honestly what I think. It was a great game to watch. I loved it.
It was fun. Yeah, I know, because I was texting my buddy. I said, this is going to be crap. Like, this is going to be crappy basketball tonight. I said,
I loved it. I loved watching Harden and Tatum and all these guys just going back and forth. It was awesome. But are we going to get a repeat?
Can we talk about Kyrie being just the dumbest of the dumb in the fourth quarter when the other two are combined for 70-plus points, and he decides, you know what? I'm going to try and put the team on my back and play and-one basketball. And
that's
shoot
what
all
this
these
team
threes.
needs right now. They need me to take over.
Yeah, he's like, they need me and my spiritual adventures to take over.
All right.
I mean, that's Kyrie, Tyler. I don't know what you want.
And I'll tell you what, I take my lumps on this show. Yeah, you're not happy with that, Sage. I take my lumps on the show, and one of the ones that I'll have to admit, I was wrong, because I said if the Celtics win, they need a big game from Kemba Walker. And he did make a couple nice shots there down the stretch, but overall his number and his stat line was terrible. So credit to Celtics for getting it done without Kemba Walker, because I didn't think that could happen. Let's go back to the questions in the chat. Sanjay wants to know, who do you think the most expensive player? Who's going to be your biggest spend up on the roster tonight, JSU?
I'm probably going to play Jokic, and for sure one of my two builds, if not both of them. I'm still building the second one, but I'm not sure if that one I'm going to go more of a mid-tier route, which could leave Jokic out. But Jokic will be the stud that I spend up for. Like, if I got one stud, he's going to be the one guy.
All right, and I can see why you're going there at that. What
would load up? I think in the other route, it might end up being like playing the late game with spending up for like Ja and maybe Ja and Donovan Mitchell. Like maybe just going for that game. Because honestly, I think if I'm targeting 2 games, I think it's the Denver-Portland game and the late game are the 2 games I like the most.
And that's definitely fair because even with the nice defense that the Jazz show, do expect a high pace in that game. Let's talk about tomorrow a little bit. And you guys, if you have more questions, roll them in because I think we've answered everything. Or if I missed it, throw it in the chat again and we will get back to it. Talk to me about the Lakers series tomorrow, JSU. Tyler and I are pretty much of the idea that with an injured Chris Paul, this thing is over. It's just a historic bad run. I was trying to think of a player comp of a guy that's done this good in the regular season and then just got hurt in the playoffs like multiple times. You know, I mean, because we wrote Chris Paul off, right? Like 2 years ago, right? That was the worst contract in the NBA. Now it's definitely not, right? I mean, now you want him on your team. Once again, he's hurt. I mean, this was a lottery team without him, right? I mean, when Chris Paul was on this team, they were drafted in the lottery last year. I think they had, the number 11 pick? I mean, pretty quick turnaround to try and go against the champs. And, of course, everybody else is getting hurt, and the Lakers are fully healthy right now. What do you think? I mean, is this just 4-1? Do the Lakers just roll again?
Yeah. Yeah, the Lakers just end up rolling. 5 games, another series where kind of played out the way I thought. Now, obviously, I didn't think that Chris Paul was going to get hurt in game 1. And, you know, we can't know that. And that, honestly, that is huge for this series because although I thought in the end the Lakers were for sure winning this series, Chris Paul being fully healthy would have made it tougher, right? Like, I can't deny that. So that's definitely one thing. He's clearly not healthy. We know this. So this game is going to end with the Lakers winning. It's just got it written all over it. Lakers going to be done. LeBron's going to take that rest until the next series starts up again. And AD, you know, Lakers are going to push all their guys to, you know, full run, get them done, and move on. That's what's going to happen here. So I think their team, they want that rest, right, Spread? They don't want to. They don't want this series to drag out. They don't want to, you know, keep going.
And what a difference 10 days makes, right? 10 days ago, we're watching them squeak out a playing game against the Warriors and look about as vulnerable as we've seen over the last 2 years, right? After watching them squeak that game out, I said, they barely beat this Warriors team that has one all-star, one fringe all-star from 5 years ago, right? And a bunch of guys that struggle to make any other team's playoff roster. Now, to me, they look like they're back in the driver's seat, especially with the health, right? Luka's shoulder. I mean, we're seeing these guys, the chinks in the armor here. So really interesting series and how quickly things can change in the NBA because I would say, once again, the Lakers are the clear favorite to win the title. Mr. McLongrod wants to know any love for Donovan Mitchell. He's going to be low owned.
Yeah, I think in my second lineup, I'm going to probably play that late game, and so Donovan Mitchell is going to be one guy I will have.
All right, so he's going to be in there. Joey Work is in here making a pretty good protection. He says it was RIP Knicks after game 1. It was RIP Knicks after the first half of game 2. RIP Knicks after game 3.
Yeah, Joey, we're not jumping off the Knicks bandwagon. No, we're not jumping off the Knicks bandwagon yet. We're not dead, Joey Work. Don't listen to that. We're not dead. We're still alive.
Yeah.
Spread, do you think we're dead?
With the Knicks?
Yeah.
No. Because it's like we know the path, right? I mean, it was like
I was just asking.
I mean, if you're shooting fantastic and all your players are playing well and you're losing, it's one thing. But, I mean, you see the one thing that could happen, right? If Julius Randle goes back to that guy we saw during the regular season, right? I thought he was one of the best passers in the league. I mean,
Clint Capella ain't disappearing anytime soon, fellas. It's over. You
don't think Thibodeau can somewhat scheme some way to figure that out?
It's over.
Oh, man.
We'll see.
And our guy Title ran down Gallinari. I don't know. He looked pretty good yesterday. Our guy Title said that Gallinari was not a good player.
Gallo?
Yeah, that shocked me. I'm like,
I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that good.
Well, here's the thing.
He can still have a game, but
if he's not making shots, yeah, he sucks. But it's a shooter's league. You need to space the floor, and when he's making shots, he's one of the best because not only can he just hit that corner three, he can hit from behind the arc, even up top. That gives you the space that Trey and those other guys need. Jay's not happy with you, Tyler.
You just said another name spread that the Knicks can't match. Every time he comes off the bench and back onto the floor, they go on a nice little run. Trae Young. What happened right when he stepped back on the floor in the second quarter yesterday? They went on a 26-3 run.
Yeah. That was absolutely terrible. JSU, and you just reminded me because Rick Carlisle caught a lot of flack for taking Luke out last night. What did you think?
For taking
the first quarter off the big lead, and he just goes up on rotation.
No, I'm not giving him shit for it. Rick Carlisle is one of the best coaches in the NBA. Stop it. Stop. But let's stop nitpicking on things. They lost one game. They took two from the clip. No one thought they were going to win those first two games. Let's stop nitpicking on one of the best coaches in the NBA. Leave it alone, people.
So are you going to be on Dallas tomorrow night?
Yes. For sure.
Are we taking the money line? It's plus 122, and I'm assuming the Clippers continue to take money. If we want that bet, I'm going to wait. I think it's going to get all the way to plus 130 before it gets come back.
I think people are going to take the Clippers after that last game. I think everyone's on the Clippers.
The Clippers were huge publicly too last night. And I don't always trust those splits, but DraftKings treated one out where it was close to 70. It was in the high 70s on the Clippers handle. Which surprised me. I was on the Mavericks and I felt pretty good, and it just didn't come through. Tyler, JSU needs to work on his core. Let's talk about these games real quick. Who do you like tomorrow in the Clippers and the Mavericks?
Probably the Mavericks. I didn't really get to look at the lines yet. I'd have to.
It's the exact same. It's the exact same as yesterday. It's minus 2.5 right now, plus 122. I assume it's going to close at 3 plus 130.
Yeah, I'd probably lean Mavericks. I'd have to do some more looking into it though.
Yeah. It was surprising to me that they dropped the game even shooting 50% from the field because the regression I expected was them to go back between 30 and 40% from three here. So, Mark Derrickson.
I'm going to post them. If anyone's listening, I'm posting them in the Discord now.
All right, core is in the Discord,
and they should be up on the website in a minute or two. But post them in here now.
All right, well, we are pretty close to lock. We'll take any more questions you guys got, and then we're going to go ahead and turn on TNT and see if Giannis and company can go ahead and get it done. Guys, do we have any more questions here? Bets, props, and mainly JSU doing the 2v2s. You got anything else before we get out of here? Give it a couple minutes here. JSU, what's your boldest prediction for the whole weekend?
Boldest
something that we don't see coming here?
Let's see. Where did my Knicks play? I mean, is it bold to say that the Knicks go and own the Hawks?
Yes.
In game 4?
Plus 163, I'll take that.
Yeah. Knicks are winning that game. I think Dallas wins their game as well, the nightcapper tomorrow. So that's
and I'm a little thrown off trying to do the DFS. Mark Derrick just brought up a great point. What were the best bets again? We did not do best bets. Thank you, Mark Derrick. Let's get it on the road. Tyler, what do you got for me? Best bet today, side, total, or prop?
Side, total, or prop? We're going to go with Giannis over that 13.5 rebounds again.
Hey, that was fun. That was easy. Nothing better than cashing a prop in the first half. Tyler likes Giannis over 13.5 rebounds. JSU, what do you like?
I mean, I'm just going to run down this card here. So
okay,
I think the Bucks are winning this game. So really like them minus 4.5. This Nuggets Portland game. This is the game that I'm not going to say it's like the best bet, but I do think that Portland wins. But the value is clearly on the Nuggets, like +5. I'll probably just take the +5. I do think it's a very close game, back and forth. Portland probably edges them out here, gets it to 2-2. So that's how I see that. But I would definitely take Denver with the +5 here. Sixers end up smoking the Wizards. So I take them. And then, even though I think Memphis can keep it somewhat close, in the end, it's going to be Donovan Mitchell, and I'll take the Jazz at -5.5.
All right. Sounds like a plan. So, yeah, I'm pretty much in lockstep with you on most of these here. I do like the Bucks to get it done. I like the Nuggets +4.5 there. But Tyler had the best idea for that game, guys. Grab the +178 right now. I think it's less than 20% chance that you're not able to come back with it and grab Portland at least +150 there. It'll get you at least a half unit profit. I think that's the best way to attack that game. The best part about it, if you do it like we did on Thursday night on the Keg Live show, then you just sit back and enjoy the end of the game as a fan with money in your pocket. That's how I'm approaching that game. So if you ask me to pick a spread, I'm taking the 4.5, but I'm also grabbing the money line right now for the ARB potential. And we love it in the Run Pure Bets Discord as they all announce ARB achieved when they've locked in the profit. So I think this can be another opportunity to see those achievements tonight. In the Sixers game, I think this is the toughest one to get involved with. I wouldn't be surprised if the Wizards covered. They've been sneaky backdoor team all year. I'm going to stay away from that game altogether. And my best bet is the Utah Jazz -5. We saw how much the addition of Donovan Mitchell means to that team. It was just a step that you simply cannot adjust for. There's nothing you can do. We talked about earlier. Jordan Clarkson goes off. We can double him. We can trap him. We can take him out of the game. I don't even want to throw that double at Mitchell because, number one, he'll either beat a double team on his own or he'll just make the right pass. He's a little better at passing out of the double team, which is why he's such a great player. So, real quick, we will answer one more question before we get out of here from Antoine. Do you have any Jimmy Butler on DK JSU?
I do not, because, like I said, I'm not going to stack that game up. No, so that's going to end with me not playing. The Heat guys. Because like I said, if I'm playing the Heat guys, I'm probably just going to stack the game up. I'm going to play Jokic. I'm sorry, Giannis, maybe Drew, and some value. And I'm just going to go all in on that game, play like 5 or 6 guys. And I'm just not going to do that. I think the Bucks end up winning. So I can play Bucks. I'm trying to make this sound like I'm not playing anyone from this game. Mm-hmm. I can play Bucks with this theory, though, because with this theory, even if they blow them out, the Bucks guys can still get there with their run. But I'm going to play the mid-tier or lower price Bucks, which is going to leave out Giannis for sure. Probably leave out Middleton too. Drew's the one guy that I do like, even if he just gets 30 minutes. And then, obviously you can play some of the value if you want. Pat Connaughton looks like he's going to start. So, yeah.
And I think
Gregory Russo, what's wrong with poor JSU? Boston sucks. I don't give a shit if Boston's good. I can care less.
Yeah, that's Mangona like the Celtics, right?
The only time I care is if I bet on them. And one other thing I try and stay away from is betting my hometown teams, by the way. I hate betting like the Patriots, the Celtics, like betting on them. I like betting against them, honestly.
Yeah, they're easy to fake because when you watch the team, like the let down spots. I think you answered this before, but the J9986 wants to know Melo if you land on him, right? I think that if you land on Melo, that's not bad at all, right?
Yeah. I did my core posted in the Discord. Carmelo is in my core. So
all right, cool. Cool. They're running in. They don't want us to go off the air. Monte Morris or Ish Smith on DK?
Monte for me.
All right. I think that is all the questions. Tyler, you got anything else before we get out of here?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Well, thank you for hanging out, Tyler. Sorry we didn't get you an AP appearance, Greg. So you know what that means. You're going to have to double down next Friday because I already know he is penciled in for next Friday. He will be very anxious to see you in the chat. West Coast Gem says it's Melo's birthday. I fade those in tennis. I don't know how it works for the NBA. I'm going to take tomorrow off for the Run Pure Bets channel in the morning rundown, partly because the games start right when we normally go on. But that doesn't mean you're not going to be able to hang out with me because I'm going to be on live with the Keg at 6:30 Eastern, 3:30. We got a NASCAR race going on. He's going to get you covered on that. He's going to give you the winners on that. I'm going to ride the NBA. I'm going to give out a couple live winners on that one as well. So I will be back tomorrow, just not at the 1 p.m. Eastern time slot. It'll be 6:30 Eastern, and I'll be with the Keg. But we will be back Monday morning. I'll be doing a Memorial Day show. Got to check the hoop to see if we got it. If not, I'll be by myself, and then on Tuesday you got to be there because that's when JSU and Mangone are on, and the guys have agreed like 3 times all year. So it's my favorite. I get to feel like I'm the host of First Take, and it's a lot of fun. So everybody, thanks for hanging out.
It's the best too because I just get to own Mangone constantly. I love owning Mangone. And just your approach. Mangone like hides in the chat too. He'll like hide in the Discord chat when he does it when his bets don't come through. I'll be messaging at like 2 a.m. and just nothing, silence. And then like when Mangone's bets go through, he's there at like 1, 2 a.m. in Discord. He's like posting messages. Hawks in 6. All right, Mangone, we'll see. All right.
Yeah.
I see you though.
No, and that's the most fun because, well, not only do you guys approach DFS from a different perspective where he plays mostly cash and you're the best tournament player in the world. You just have different perspectives and approaches on this thing. So it's awesome to get them both. And usually, like you said, one of you is cashing, but never both at the same time, right?
I mean, it does kind of work that way. When Mangone has like a monster day, when he's posting like one of those big screenshots, it's probably a day where JSU did not end up doing well. Like just rough day all around. So I'm in Discord right now for the last couple minutes, guys, answering some questions. So if you're not in there, get in there, and good luck. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to your to the Bets channel on your way out too, because like I said, spread got us on here. He got us on early, got JSU on, so show him some love at the end.
Yeah, and I thank you guys for hanging out. JSU, Tyler, thank you for starting early with me. And guys, content's not done. Keg's going live as soon as I hit end broadcast, he's hitting start broadcast. So stay tuned to the channel, get the NASCAR winners, keep cashing so you can have a great Memorial Day weekend. I will see you guys tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. on Keg Live. Thank you.